Hello and welcome to Fempreneur True Confessions podcast. Ooh, my voice is going out.
It works. It's good. Hi, everyone. I'm Laura. I'm owner of OTAA Virtual Assistant Agency. And our agency is a support for small businesses that are growing and scaling their businesses. And we want to help them be confident in that growth. So we help out behind the scenes, working with strategy, building solutions, and then ensuring that the focus of the staff and what they need to do ensures the growth for our clients. So we are big and supporter of businesses and want you to work on your superpower, and we can deal with the stuff behind the scenes. So
Awesome. And I'm Angelique with Lady Powerhouse Solutions, and we are a heart centered approach to offering project and event management to women entrepreneurs on fire, lighting up the world with their passion and drive. And we help them achieve their missions in the most authentic way possible. Laura and I actually work in really similar ways and with really similar clients. So we have the same target market almost and the same type of businesses. So you would think that we would find each other to be competitors, but we don't because we have what we found early on is that we have an abundance mindset. And what that means for us is that we believe there's more than enough to go around, and we're often referring clients to each other and helping each other out with our clients and giving each other advice, and we just became business besties. And thus that relationship fostered this podcast.
we did. We got together and we decided Fempreneur True Confessions, and for our mission here to empower women in business as well as in life. So our business and our personal lives to live authentically in that and in that support of women. Instead of competing with each other, always to be there for each other. We model this through everything. We do model in our personal, we model it in our business, we model it in everything we do. And that's what this podcast came to light for was if we can do this in similar situations, then what is it if we bring women together? What can they do as a community? So we brought in this podcast to learn about other women in business and to really just live that authentic voice that we're presenting.
Yeah. So our goal is just to empower the women to do the same thing. And what's the best way to do that then? To just be that in front of other women and with other women. Um, and the focus of the podcast is entrepreneurs, but I think most women have a certain a certain level of entrepreneurial spirit. Um, I don't know about anybody else, but I'm a serial entrepreneur. I've been doing things on the side, doing side hustles, like since I could work. And so, I feel like our target audience is women that are thinking about doing something, or are in the middle of starting something, or they've been doing something and it's not working, or they're struggling, or maybe they're super successful and we are just entertaining. That too would be nice. But our goal is to normalize the challenges and share the lessons that we've learned and that our guests have learned, with the common goal of lifting other women up, never tearing them down, and normalizing what it looks like when women succeed at supporting each other. What it looks like when we help build each other up, build up our confidence, and encourage each other to use our gifts and passions to fulfill our life's calling. So, this podcast and what we do here and what we are continuing to grow uh, is a community, a sisterhood, where we can build, maintain, and grow an environment that believes in an abundance mindset, that believes in sharing our challenges and helping each other rise to our highest potential. And we've just got a wonderful guest today, Laura.
Yes, absolutely. We have Daphne Jones here. Um, and her, hold on, I apologize. Daphne Jones. She is a recovering life insurance agent, which I love, and she is on a mission to connect 1 million women with their best financial life. Financial independence is a hot topic, especially nowadays. Pay attention. And these days, and there are many different paths to get there. So Daphne is a Marine, a podcaster. Thank you for your service, by the way. A financial educator
Yes.
and Bitcoin nerd with a passion for encouraging Gen X women to design their version of financial self-dependence. She believes that through tech, investing, and entrepreneurship, as well as IT, that Gen X women can grow their wealth, as well as her podcast, books, and YouTube channels are the perfect way to share her message and inspire others to take control of their finances. Wonderful. Welcome,
Welcome,
Daphne. How are
Daphne.
you?
Hey, thank you. It's great to be here. Great to be here.
Awesome.
Absolutely. We're so excited to have
Well,
you here. And this is a hot topic. So,
It's great to
it
be here.
is.
It's great to be here.
It's been it's been something we've had several guests already that are in the financial realm, and so I think that it's an important topic, especially as an empowerment tool for women, because I feel like as women begin to get into business and acquire more wealth, that we need guidance and experienced people that are knowledgeable in how to best invest and spend that wealth. So definitely a great topic. You call yourself the smart money chick. So what's the story behind that? Why do you call
Yeah.
yourself that?
Smart money chick. Well, the smart money chick came about with that you need to have a relationship with your money,
Agreed.
and it should be a happy one. Money should
Yes.
not be a bad boyfriend.
Oh, I love
So,
that.
I love that
so
too.
chicks, growing up, chicks, your chicks, they were your best. They were your chicks. You
Hmm.
talk to them, good, bad, and different. They had bad days. You knew they were having a bad day, and you listened to them tell the story 12 times, and
Absolutely.
you have them have a
However
great
many
time.
times, babe, you got to tell that story. You got events. We get it.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's where that daguerre came from. And particularly when you're selling insurance, it's tough because eyelids get heavy and people don't want to be there. They usually been dragged to the meeting by their spouse and that sort of thing. So you want to
Well,
keep some levity into it.
insurance
So
has
it
gotten
did
a
all of
bad
that.
rap. It's gotten
It
a bad
has.
rap, especially life insurance, because,
Mhm.
um, well, it's just not one of those sexy things that you want to
It's
go out
not.
and buy like a car, right? It's a
Right.
very
And they've,
practical thing.
yeah. And that's a problem in the industry where they've tried to make it sexy and gotten away from really what it is. It now it does some great things. Let's not go there. It does.
Mhm.
But those things have been offered to folks who really can't use those tools. It's like giving your 6-year-old daughter, a razor to shave her legs. She doesn't need a razor. She's not there yet. That's a
Right.
conversation to have later. And that's often what happens with insurance because they're trying to make it sexy, trying to make it, oh, it can do this and be your own bank and infinite banking and various other terms. And there's nothing wrong with it, right? That is what you
Yeah.
want to do when you reach a certain level.
Mhm.
But the importance of what life insurance is and is to protect your loved ones, to protect the future. So,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
sometimes we get away from that.
So, what experiences did you go through that brought you to understand the differences and importance of life insurance, preparing for financial retirement, and all those things? Was there more than one, or was there one, that was kind of the
It was
pivotal?
it was multiple experiences that happened at once. It started off with the condition that I couldn't work,
Mm,
and your paycheck is your mulligan. It's a do over every 2 weeks or however whenever you're paid, right?
yeah.
It covers up any mistakes you're making. It's a fresh infusion of cash. So the illness happened. I couldn't work. And then '08 hit. And the other half of the partnership, which is my husband, he lost his job. And, if you want to see a little bit of panic, let
Yep.
two, wage earners stop waging at the same time.
Been there.
Right. So at that point, you're in a tizzy. And that started and plus I had time because the illness, to sit back, read, and try to see where we kind of messed up at, because it shouldn't have just slammed brakes like that. I mean, you don't control the economy itself, right?
Mm-hmm.
But that massive wall we hit in just a little bit of time, and it's like, wait a minute, we were making a good living. We were not, it isn't like we both worked at McDonald's, and no insult to folks that work at McDonald's,
Yeah,
but
yes.
right, we'd gone to college, military, da, da, da. So you discover from living it and reading, every folks can live paycheck to paycheck. Athletes who make millions upon millions of dollars a year live paycheck to paycheck. So, and that's one of the
It's your
first things you have to
relationship
learn.
with money.
Right. You have to stop that. Right. And how do you feel about money? What do you think money is? What it's supposed to do? So that sort of thing. So that's what got started. That's what started on the road. And I discovered life insurance. I didn't necessarily want to go back into working at that time because it was a little tough. And I later figured out why. And again, with life insurance, you start having financial conversations with the individuals you're trying to help with life insurance. And I started to see some things repeated over again that crossed all boundaries, whether they be financial, ethnicity, religion, didn't matter. We're just Americans.
Okay. So what did it spur you to do?
Well, it spurred me to start a podcast with my best buddy and get a YouTube channel and just try to get financial. I don't call it literacy. I call it education, because there's so many times that you're sitting there and you talk to folks. If I had known, that, I would have done something a little different. When we got laid off, we wouldn't have drawn down our 401ks. We'd left them sitting there, because you find out once you hit the penalty, that money's gone. If you're lucky, it may go 6 weeks for most folks, because your average 401k is under $5,000 in this country. And then you
Oh,
still got to figure
wow.
something out. So that sort of thing. So just giving information about life insurance. Some things that you should get life insurance for your kids. You should get life insurance for your kids. And it's more than just the basic reason of that horrible thought that no parent wants to think about. But there's other reasons that helps your kid later on in life, and why you should get life insurance, and just things of that nature, and how it fits into the basic foundation of your financial planning and so forth. And then at some point, you do need to start investing for retirement. Notice I didn't say saving. I said investing for retirement.
Yeah.
Things like that.
So I recently heard a couple of times, a couple of different, and I'm sure it was on social media, because I don't really watch television or news or anything like that. So I don't really see
Right.
commercials. And yes, there's commercials on YouTube and stuff, but I literally hit skip as soon as I can. And if there's a commercial, I usually mute it,
Right.
unless it's actually something I'm interested in, which they're getting really good at these targeted ads. But anyway, whole different podcast. But the things that I've heard is these financial advisors are suggesting that you buy a house when you have a kid, and that you rent that house out until they graduate. And then if they go to college, then they can live from out of that house while they're attending college. And if they're not attending locally or wherever that house is, then you can, sell it and use it to buy as a down payment to buy another house where they are, or put that lump sum aside as a down payment for their house, or as a form of an investment for them. And I thought that was an interesting concept, an idea.
Mhm.
And another one was that when your kids, graduate from high school, you start renting them the room that they're living in the house. Leave them in the house. Let them stay home and rent them a room for like $300 a month. And then when they're ready, when they graduate or they're ready to move out, then you've got that money to give back to them. And I'm thinking, excuse me? Give back to them. But I get it, for families that have that ability,
Mhm.
give it back to them and let them use it as a nest egg or a down payment on a home. And these are all really interesting suggestions.
Mhm.
And I think that they have merit depending on the situation. But life insurance isn't something that comes to mind, because
No.
I don't think as a population we see it as an investment.
Okay,
Yeah.
because it's not. I know there are folks out there that's selling it as one. It's not. It's not. It can be a savings plan. Now, this is one thing I will say. It can be a savings plan for retirement to give you some tax-free retirement. But once again, you're having to feed that policy a fairly, depending on where you are income-wise. Again, when you get
Yes,
past life
right.
insurance being protection for those you leave behind, you start dealing with different income levels. Again, is what are you ready for income wise? Okay, so like those things that they just mentioned about what to do with your kid and renting them a house where they go to school and things like that, and that sort of thing. So what I'm going to say is that they all work, just like dieting. Fewer calories, exercise, you lose weight. I don't care if you're on the paleo diet, you're the carnivore diet, I'm going vegan. Once you start watching what you put into your mouth and then increase your exercise, increase whatever you're doing, lifting, I don't care, lifting, running, walking, biking,
Yeah.
the weight comes off.
Yeah. It's
Okay.
interesting. So sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. So what I talk about to my clients and future clients is do something. Take action. Just get started. I mean, how many times have you asked, how do you start a podcast? Press record. I mean, you can
Right,
do all this
Laura?
ready to get ready.
Right.
The key is
Yes.
to press record
It
and then
is.
stick it
It
up
is.
somewhere. Right. Right
Yeah.
after press record, put it up somewhere.
Yeah.
Anchor,
Or
YouTube,
skip the
Facebook.
pressing record and just go live.
Right. Just go
But
live.
it does record it. It does record it.
Right.
You're right.
Right. So just get started. So, and that's the place with money often, because I know it took me a long time to get started with, was I knew too much and too much information was coming in. Pick something.
The overwhelm.
Right. You mentioned earlier when we were talking in the green room about women entrepreneurs and getting started, and some folks supposedly make six figures the first year and things of that nature. Well, most people actually make money from working. That's the way everyone really most people make money from having jobs, jobs, whether
Correct.
they're W-2 or 1099. But at some point, a side hustle or some type of business needs to be part of your money mix. Whether you're actually running the business, whether
Yeah.
you've purchased a franchise and you have those kids running it, or you buy into a business that's running itself and you're a blind part, however you wish to be involved, because you have to have something that's generating cash at some point. And that's when you often use the term, you invest for retirement, not save for retirement. That does not poo-poo the 401k or the other retirement plans that, for instance, that are available to you as a business owner or as an employee. Those are very useful. They got tax structures and they help you and stuff. So let's not,
Yeah.
again, let's
Yeah.
not poo-poo that. But you need something
And
that's
it's free money
that's
sometimes.
actively generating cash.
Yeah.
I'm
I was
sorry.
saying, and it's free money sometimes because your companies will match. So I'm always like, take that free money.
Exactly.
Live
Oh my
right
Right.
there.
gosh.
Why would
Yeah.
you turn that down?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that was one of the best things I did when I was in corporate was I maxed out my contribution so that they would match it. And I tell you what, I wouldn't have any retirement if I think any longer if it weren't for that. So in it, and it was interesting. My brain went through down another rabbit hole, so I'm not
Hmm.
going to go there. But because I'm learning not to do those things. But you've also taken some masterminds, and you've learned a lot from those. Um, what what were some of the most significant things that you felt like, because masterminds can be quite an investment. Um,
They can be. They can be.
yeah.
To be in the room with people that are trying to head in the same direction you are helps. And there's so many different viewpoints because there's so many different experiences. Um,
So
for
you found
instance,
like it was worth the investment.
yes. For instance, I'm returning to tech. Um, I gr- trained up in IT from the military, right? So when you step away, your skills there's a your skills atrophy. They're not the latest thing,
Right.
Mhm.
but IT never goes out of tech never goes out of style, and it's so vast.
And it's
And if you
fast.
have the ability to synthesize, because my specialty is explaining to make a business case for the flashing lights. That's what I called it. To get to make businesses understand why they need this particular piece of gear.
Hmm.
So and to go back into that and do it again because it generates a very good income. I mean, if you want to spend your time doing something, why not get well paid for it?
So you're
Mhm.
So,
into the hard tech hardware.
uh, yes, well, right now my focus is going to be on some gear called Cisco. We don't have to go too deep into that, but that's
Yeah.
basically the the the
Familiar with
machines that
Cisco.
run the internet. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, routing and switching. Right. Not sexy as say the coding but it everything runs on it, right? So
Yeah, yeah. So, what do you think was the most important lessons that you learned from the masterminds that you've taken?
again, taking action is creating a plan, understanding that that plan isn't perfect, okay? But
Mhm.
taking action, getting started, and having someone look at you and say, "So you told us that last week. what have you
So,
done to
that's
get started on that?"
accountability. Now we're
Right,
talking about accountability, someone to hold your
right,
feet to the fire. Okay.
right.
So,
You
I
told us
think,
that last week.
yeah,
Did you put the stamp on the envelope yet? No.
yeah,
Okay. Well, you
awesome.
can't talk about that anymore. To put the stamp on the envelope. We don't want to hear
I like it. I
Mhm.
like it. So, um, I had a thought and it left me. I know what it was. One of the things that came up in conversation within my, what I call my inner circle,
it. Hmm.
lately has been the ability to, um, have grace with ourselves
Oh yeah.
when we need, or when we identify that something is not working and it needs to change. Or, like for myself, my health has, and I've seen, and I've got several people that I've come across and that I've connected to since my illness that I shouldn't, well, yeah, let's just go there and leave it at that. That are also experiencing the same thing and having to reprioritize and say, you know what, it's okay if I only work 4 hours a day. It's okay if I temporarily only work 6 hours a day, or it's okay if I need to shift my hours from 9 to 5 to 11 to 7 or whatever, because
Hmm.
that's what I've done. Because my energy diminishes through the day. So what I found was I'm starting my day at, my work day at 9, and by 5 o'clock I'm just completely exhausted and there's no energy left to take care of me.
Hmm.
So I've learned to reprioritize and rearrange my day, even so that the things that take those really critical focused skills, I'm making sure I get all of that done before 3.
Oh yeah.
or that when I get my second wind after about 5, I've got a little bit of time after 5 that I can really dig in.
Yeah.
But typically that's not happening anymore. My pain levels are just too high at that point that I can really
Hmm.
focus on what I'm doing. I
Oh
could
yeah.
do
You
something
have
that
to, yeah.
I
You
could do
recognize
something
your
that
best time of day.
yes, yes, absolutely. But, I'm seeing that women are starting to be a lot more cognizant of that in their lives as we are aging, as we are facing different circumstances and challenges in our lives, deaths, sickness, and other family members, having to care for other family members, all the things.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that's one of the things I'm just most proud of when I see other women doing that and saying that they're doing it, because we need to normalize that this is okay. This is what's healthy.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
The
I
working,
have
the
a
hustle
client who
culture, that is
recently,
not
Oh no,
healthy.
no, that's not. That's
yeah,
not. It's not healthy for guys. It's not healthy,
mm,
and
Correct.
because you do a lot of beating up, you beating yourself up.
Hmm.
Um,
mm-hmm.
if you don't give yourself
I
grace,
am,
because it applies to the money too. You have to admit the mistakes, look at them honestly. That does require that, and
mm-hmm.
sometimes it's going to be some serious cuss words to yourself. What the okay,
Yeah.
do that. What? Yeah. What the were you thinking? You
Yeah,
probably weren't. So, and then go,
Right.
okay, bet. Or you learn something, man, I should have, okay. But right now, where are we right now? What are we going
Yeah.
to
We
do?
can't shit ourselves. Right.
Right, right.
yeah,
What are we going to do right now? Okay. So moving forward, hey, I haven't saved up. I tore the retirement up when I got laid off. So what are we going to do? Cuz I faced the same one. Okay. I
mm-hmm.
did the things you weren't supposed to do. If they say the things you're not supposed to do, we did them real hard on steroids. We like did them repeatedly.
Right.
And it's like, okay, so what's now? Okay, what's your plan? Okay, so how long do you think you want to do this? Okay, I could give you another 8 to 10 years. Okay, so we need to find a way that's going to give us killer cash that's legal. I know one.
It's legal. I love it. Yeah,
Let's
make it legal, please, everyone.
yeah, let's look at the certifications that are hot right now and which one interests you. Okay, that one.
Yeah.
That one pay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So yeah, even on the low end, I make this, that. I'm pretty smart. Yeah, I interview well. I know how to come to work on time. Okay, here we go. This is what we're
Yeah.
gonna do,
Yeah.
and we're gonna do our YouTube smart money chick stuff. It's gonna be a side hustle for right now, and we're
And that's
gonna
okay. I love
right. We're
that.
gonna right. We can pour into this because we're gonna have cash now.
Uh
So we're
huh.
going to be able to hire video editors and audio editors and maybe pick up ads once we come up with a product and things of this nature, which we know supercharges from the masterminds.
Mm-hmm.
Your ebook could be awesome, but man, if you could put $5 a day behind it in Facebook ads and target those ads to who the product is actually designed for, that's the things they never tell you on the Instagram ads. I
Right.
made, I'm making 30K a month. Yeah. Because you're
Yeah.
spending 4 on ads. But when you're making
Yeah.
30K, you can spend 4,000 on ads. So
Mm-hmm. It makes sense. Yeah. We
yeah, it
Yeah.
does.
Yeah.
we've always talked
Because
about
those
like money in
ads,
the family
yeah.
and stuff.
Yeah, well that's because you have an agency. So you know what I'm
We do
talking
the
about.
yes, the
Yeah.
same
The ads.
Yeah.
conversations we have the agency is how
Mm-hmm.
much are you, what does that take? We were just recently talking in a business group that I'm in, a cohort, and we were discussing, yes, there's a difference between a solopreneur and an agency model. And we're an agency model, which means we do have overhead. We're not someone where we can max out our bandwidth because we we bring in more of what we need. A solopreneur maxes out their bandwidth if they only get to a certain point. Growth is not something that's possible on a real level when you're doing it that way. So you eventually either have to go into that team or agency model, or you like being where you're at. And
Mm-hmm.
that's perfectly fine. Like it's just yours and your
Right.
small
Right.
group. You love that. But when you
Yeah.
start to add in all of that, it becomes, I spend a lot of time on marketing and meetings and networking and building up relationships and going through all these other things. That's all overhead and cost. I literally work every day, and though I'm
Mm-hmm.
not doing clients work, I'm literally in work mode all day long because you have to do that. That's your part of your job of your business now. Um, and a lot of times people don't see that. They see what we're offering to pay them, or what we're offering to say that we charge. And they're like, well,
Mm-hmm.
that, it could seem high to them or low. One lady the other day told me she's heard from $15 an hour all the way up to $150 an hour. I'm like, wow, it's a wide spread. So
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
when you're discussing that, it's like there's so much into that, and people don't always see all sides of everything. So that
Oh yeah.
whole hustle culture, even though we're not doing the work as an agency, we are doing a crap ton of work because we are now in charge of all the stuff to be able to give our VAs some work. So there's a lot that goes into bringing
Right.
in those clients so that they can work and give them
Yeah.
hours. I want them to,
Yeah.
get
Right.
their hours too. So it
Right.
definitely is
And
things
that's
that
I
you
think
don't.
that's why subcontracting, sorry, Laura. Um, there's a bit of delay on my end. I apologize. Um, I think that's why subcontracting for VAs is so attractive, because they don't have that overhead. They don't have all that advertising to do and that marketing to do and that job seeking to do. They find a few contractors that are good at sending them work, and they sit back and wait.
Right.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
Mm.
But that's not what we do. So one of the things you said earlier, Daphne, it sparked a thought in me. I loved math in school. And so I thought I wanted to do something with numbers. And I actually had a position at one time at a uh, market auto parts company in accounts payable, receivable. And I loved it. I loved balancing when everything balanced, and then all those little tricks you can play when it doesn't balance to find out why, where's the mistake. And um, forensic accounting just really appealed to me. So I started to go to school to become a CPA.
Okay.
And just that whole finance world really appealed to me until they one year after another, they kept changing the qualifications required for the CPA certification. So I eventually gave up on that and just got a business degree. But one of the things I learned, and later on, I was actually offered a job in a investment company, and I took it because I thought this is my chance to work in finance. This is after I'd been in corporate for probably 10, 15 years. And I thought, okay, this is my chance. I'm going to see if I really like this as much as I hated it. Abso-freaking-lutely hated it. It was toxic. The
Mm-hmm.
just the culture. The finance culture is so toxic where these people are working. But if this particular company, I can't speak about all companies, right? And this company was eventually bought out, and I believe that things have improved um, with who acquired it. But one of the things that I remember specifically was that women are actually better at investing because they know when to pull the plug sooner. They cut their losses sooner. And uh
Yeah.
and this was obviously a while back. So
Mhm.
I thought that was so interesting that women were better investors, and yet there are so few women in that arena. Um, I'm curious, have you had what has been your experience with that, if any?
Oh, well, in the no, there's not a lot of. Again, it's a pretty vast field, as you say, like financial advisors. I belong to groups where it's actually is a group of women, financial professionals, advisors and accountants, insurance and things like that. And it's just a field that doesn't draw many women to it. I mean, it's, again, you've got fields that are heavily female: teacher, social worker, nurse,
Yeah.
and financial advisor is one of them that's just not very much so. I think we're improving in the accountancy side, the CPA side. But again, I won't even dare to try to venture into that.
I
I
think
know that,
it's an old boys club,
well,
and
yeah, it's
that's,
there. It's there. And you do best in the field when a mentor comes and actually walks you through the field. I discovered that myself. You do better when someone helps you out. I know my podcast partner, she was a mortgage banker before she went into, she's in the sales coaching, realtors and loan officers now. So she talks about mentorship and it being an old boys network and that sort of
yeah,
thing.
yeah.
It's because she was in the field almost 30 years before she,
So the
called it a
mentors
day.
and the coaches that you've had, um, let's talk about that. Were they mostly male or female, and what was your experience with having mentors and coaches in the past?
Well, I know in the insurance field, my two biggest mentors have been women. And they were some serious go-getters. They built some pretty sizable teams. Because I started out on they call it IMO, the insurance marketing organizations. So they were team builders, and that's where they got a fair percentage of their income was from building a team.
Gotcha.
Almost like multi-network, multi-level marketing.
Mm-hmm.
And then I've done some formal paid coaching too. Too far as like building networks, and I even spent some time with Grant Cardone when
Nice.
he was still actually coming in teaching groups at a level I could afford. So we're
Mm-hmm.
talking about, what is it? I'd say 2019.
Mm-hmm.
It was a pretty big group, but it was cool meeting with him once a week and his
Yeah,
people.
I bet.
Put hands
Yeah.
on, and you got to go through a lot of his material there because he's
Good
serious
deal.
about sales. He's real serious about sales. And
Well,
you
I
did see
mean,
it. You did see a change in your technique and in your numbers when you did what he said. So,
nice.
um,
I feel like that's an important thing to stress, is that it's okay to hire a coach. It's okay to get a
oh
mentor. In
yeah,
fact, as women, it's one of the things that we need to not only provide,
hmm
but go out and seek. And we
yeah,
talked
and you
about
have to
that in
invest
other
it.
podcasts.
You have to invest in yourself on those levels, whether it's
Yeah.
group coaching, some one-on-one. Particularly now, you still have to get up and get out, because those of us that spend a lot of time in front of screens, because we're podcasters or what have you, or we're working
Yes.
from home, you actually have to make a calendar to get out. Go join your local chamber of
Yes.
commerce. Go, actually get on Eventbrite and put in your interest meetup to
Yeah.
make sure that you get out of the house more than a couple times a month, but as much as you can, to be around
Yeah.
other people and listen to what they're talking about. Because again, that's how you learn. Because in the
Mm-hmm.
masterminds, again, when you all are involved in the same thing, you can you can take a couple of swings off. You can, when I say couple of swings off, your couple of strokes off your game.
Right.
You can get somewhere a
Mm-hmm.
little quicker because you heard of something. Oh, this
Absolutely.
is the bank you should go to, or you shouldn't call your LLC that. Don't put media in the name, and just various things like that. And often you're going to have to, some folks call it free game off YouTube. Sometimes you're going to have to pay for something. And it's
Mm-hmm.
okay, once again, forgive yourself. It's okay if you buy something and it turns out you didn't get much from it, because you'll know next time.
Oh my gosh.
That's
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
okay. That
Yeah.
happens. I just spent, yeah, I know. And it didn't, yeah, I know. Because you have to find out, was it really a program not for you? Because I'm going to use the word bad. And did you
Mm-hmm.
really do what you were supposed to do? Did you go through all the modules? Did you spend,
Right. Again,
uh,
accountability.
so many hours a week? Did you set aside, 30, 40 minutes a day to go through a module? Did you really?
Yeah. And
Or
I
was it?
find that
Yeah.
the more money you spend,
Hmm.
invest in the coaching and the mentoring and the masterminds and things like that, the
Hmm.
more you show up. Because
Mhm.
I don't know about anybody else, but my gym membership, haven't been there in months. I paid an unlimited I've paid so many memberships for like unlimited access or unlimited this or unlimited that,
Hmm.
and I might go once a month, and I am not getting my money out of these things
Right.
Mhm.
because
And those
the
are,
price point is not significant enough to hold you accountable.
right.
Mhm.
And I think
Well,
that's why the masterminds partly work, is because
right.
it is this huge investment. So my ass is going to get my money's worth out of this
Right.
coach, out of this
Right.
this posse, this circle, this whatever.
Right.
So
I want to be in the room. So I've
yeah.
noticed, I've this last person that I've done some masterminds with and had a chance to talk to and made some trips. That's another thing. Go take some trips too. Go do some stuff.
Mhm.
Figure out a way to get there. Stop asking yourself, I can't afford it, and say, how can I afford it? The question is you
Yes.
ask yourself,
Mhm.
I
how
love
can
that.
I get there? So,
I can't
um,
flip the switch on that. I
right.
can't afford it to how can I afford it?
How
What
can
do
I
I need
afford
to
it?
do?
How can I
Yes.
do? Yeah. What do I need to do to get there? Buy the ticket first and work your way back from buying the ticket. I'm
Yeah.
going to a couple of things I bought tickets for. One is FinCon, that's in October, and the other is VidCon, June in Anaheim. So
Mm.
you one of the things I picked up from one of my masterminds is plan your travel in January.
Yes.
That this is where
Mm.
I'm going. There's a couple of websites that's got, just if you put in an interest, they'll come up with the conventions and not just meetups,
Yes.
but conventions and things where they
And that's
are.
one of the things we've got. Actually, we just recently talked about this. Where we want to go to a podcasting convention,
Oh yeah.
um,
Mhm.
and and learn from some of these top podcasters. What are they doing? How are they doing it? And that kind of thing. Maybe
Yeah,
not
we
this
went to,
year.
yeah, look, VidCon, not VidCon, VidCon. You may not want to go to podcast movement is going to be in like August of this year. I
In
think it's in
Texas.
Denver this year.
Oh,
Well, it was
Denver.
in
Okay.
Texas last year. So they
Yes.
they jump back and forth between Denver and Dallas. And I went last year. So I'm not going this year because I'm going to
So, what did you
VidCon.
think last year? Tell me about it.
It was great. Uh
Yeah.
I'm an equipment audio phobe. So I was in heaven because it's just microphones, just crazy. And they're pretty and they light up. And
Oh.
so that was cool. So, with the equipment,
Mhm.
uh, splurge a little and get the VIP,
Okay.
step up from just the general admission. So you
All
so
right,
you get to
Laura.
get in rooms.
You
So you
ready?
get to get in rooms with like they'll usually give you a place to lunch with other folks who bought the ticket. And again, you're talking to other podcasters.
Yeah.
Um,
Mhm.
you get to pick your track and great ideas, people you're meeting, the stuff that's going on at night. Um, if you can't do the actual hotel where the event is, check when you're booking to make sure it's not too far away that you can walk. That's
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
something to notice. If you can't do the Sheridan, $400 a night, okay. Maybe you can be maybe across the street, down the block a little bit, but you can still walk,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
that sort of thing. So it's and make sure that you fly out either that late night after it's over with or the next morning. Don't
Yeah.
just be leaving the middle trying to get to the airport.
Yes.
Really
Right.
go and
Right.
experience.
Be
Map
present.
out what you're doing.
Laura, how long a drive is that for
All
you
that.
to Denver? She's in Oklahoma.
And I come from Denver. You're gonna force me back to Colorado? It's 10
Yes.
hours.
We can do it in a day. I'll drive to you and then we'll carpool from there. Rock on. She's like, her
Okay.
face is not changing.
I'm like, I can
Oh, Daphne,
handle it.
it's been such a pleasure. Thank you so much for
No, I mean,
sharing.
look, that's how I ended up going to podcast movement, because I had made up my mind that I was going somewhere. And then
Mhm.
podcast movement, Dallas, I'm in Houston. I was like, bet that. So
Oh yeah, see
that
that
was a
worked
Okay.
out.
little, yeah, it was just 3 hour
See, the one
drive.
in Dallas for me, because Dallas is only 4 hours away.
I
So I'm like, oh,
know.
that's
Right. And then there's going to be other podcast conventions there, like she podcast. I'm going to make that
Excuse
one
me.
1 year about
Ooh,
women podcasters.
I did. Okay, so I was on. I did a Google search for podcast conferences
Hmm.
recently. I did not see that on there.
Yeah, she podcast. Yeah,
I'm gonna have to
that is
Google that specifically.
the oldest one for women. Because there's podcast movement, she podcast, and then there's another podcast one. That one happened already in March. It happened earlier
Yes.
because they made it
Yeah.
for spring break. It was in Florida. It always happens in Orlando, and it
I
was like
know,
the
which is
first
like
one.
2 hours away from me.
Right. Where
Um,
are you in Florida?
I'm 2 hours north of Orlando.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, because I
um,
was there. I was in Miami Beach for Bitcoin 2022.
okay.
oh
All
Um,
right.
yeah.
that was cool. Yeah, in Miami
I
Beach.
just realized the time, and I have
Okay.
another call, so I
Okay.
have to bounce. But Daphne, it's been a pleasure meeting
Hey,
you,
great talking to you all.
and
Great
getting
talking
to
to you
know
all.
you better. Thank you so much for joining us. Um, Laura, you want to talk about what Daphne is got going on for our listeners?
Absolutely. So Daphne does a newsletter, and we will post to her link tree of how to get to her newsletter and be a part of that. All of her information, you really want to get on that. She does Growing Women, Growing Well podcast. You make sure that you visit her on her podcast, help support her on that, and we'll make sure all the links are in there to her link tree and all of her social media as well. And then you have an opportunity to speak with her, get with her about how she might be able to help you with your money, because money is a necessity. It's not evil. It's not bad. Let somebody help you with your
No, it's
money.
just a
So
tool. It's just a
That's it.
resource.
yeah,
Yep.
It's an energy exchange, right? It's an
There we go.
energy exchange. So, Daphne, I know you're on YouTube, but where else is your podcast? Do you go out to different podcast platforms, or are you strictly YouTube?
Well, the Grown Women Growing Wealth podcast, which I share with my awesome podcast partner Roberta Ravella, it's on anywhere you download podcasts,
Awesome.
Spotify, Google,
Okay.
Pandora, and then I've
Fantastic.
got Smart Money Chick TV on YouTube. That's where it's just me talking about life insurance and Bitcoin. So
Okay. Awesome. Well, our ask this week, just like it has been for a while, but please subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you're already a subscriber, please share a video, invite someone to subscribe, and be sure you have followed and subscribed in all of our places and all the places where you listen to podcasts or have a social media account. We're probably there. Awesome. So that will be it. And we will see you guys next time on Fempreneur True Confessions podcast. Bye.
thank you,
bye bye.
everyone. Have a good one. Bye bye.